Before Springboard, I was primarily a mom. I really focused on my kids. But I just because of how expensive the world is, I had like part-time jobs. Most of them were from home and they were all in the education field. After a few years, I was like, I'm not just a stay-at-home mom. And that's when I was like, I am a working mom because all my jobs had been from home. I would do early in the morning, I would do when the kids were asleep. And so when I had that realization, I was like, okay, so I'm going to be working for the foreseeable future. I want to be able to earn something that is worth it when I am taking time away from my family. And so that's when I started to figure out, okay, so what do I want my career path to really be? And what are the talents and skills that I want to use? And that's when I had looked into graphic design, and my husband had mentioned UX design, and that's where I found Springboard. I, at one point, wondered if psychology was the route that I wanted to go because understanding people and how they think and why they're doing what they're doing has always fascinated me. And I saw a way to do that with tech instead of through an analytical and psychological way. And so that's what really drew me in. It really came down to finding something that I was passionate about, or that really interested me and made me a decent salary. And even when I was in college, I have an English degree, but when I was in college, I purposely chose not to go the English education route because even at that time, I knew that education wasn't the field that I wanted to work in long term. It was what was convenient when I had a young family, but when I was like, okay, now I'm ready to start my career, what do I want to do? I already knew it wasn't in education. I just had to explore what it was. It's been really good. I am really grateful for the team that I work on. It is in the medical field, and so there's just a lot of terminology and procedures and processes that are unique to the medical field. So there's like a lot of growing in that way. But like I said, I have a really good team, and I like the collaboration that we have. So it's a new team, and so we're all kind of trying to find exactly what role we fit into and what we're doing. So there's one researcher and one designer, and I'm kind of the bridge between them because I can do a little bit of both and enjoy doing both. And so right now we have a couple projects that we're working on that we are conducting interviews and surveys just to try and gather more information so that we make sure that we're designing the correct product in the right way instead of just designing something according to our assumptions. And I have seen that I have already challenged and pushed for more research than they typically do in other projects. For several months before I found Springboard, I had been trying to decide, do I want to do graphic design? Do I want to do something else? And so we had purchased access to design courses, but they were entirely self-paced and it was just work at your own pace. And as a mom who was working part-time, I never made it a priority because there was just always something else that needed to be done. And so it always got pushed to the side. So I knew when I was looking at programs, one of the things that I had to have was something that would hold me accountable and keep me working. But I also needed flexibility more than like a traditional college course would offer because I was a mom and I was working part-time. And so I needed to have that balance between flexibility and accountability. And that's why I chose Springboard, because I knew that that weekly mentor meeting, even if all I did was have someone who I knew was going to see what I did or didn't do, and that alone would hold me accountable. And so that's why I was drawn to Springboard over other programs, was because I needed the flexibility and accountability that I saw available through Springboard. I loved my mentor and the relationship we had. I don't know that it would have been the same experience with a different mentor. He really understood what I needed and was able to push me, but he also didn't push me too much, right? He understood that I had little kids because there were times, lots of times throughout the course that I doubted myself and my abilities, and he was always able to listen to me vent and be like, "You've got this." And so he was a good balance of support and accountability. What ended up creating was a combination between a menstrual cycle planning app and a daily planner calendar. And so it was kind of combining both worlds so that women were able to see how their menstrual cycle contributed or affected their daily motivations and productivity and their energy level and things like that. I loved that project because it's a brilliant idea that we don't think of enough because anyone who has had a period recognizes how much it impacts not just 1 or 2 or 3 days or a week. It makes a difference every single day on, I think that being able to track it alongside daily tasks and things is beneficial. And as I talked to talked to potential users, I was able to learn a lot. When you make a career switch, you have to want it and be prepared for the amount of time and that it may take to get the right position. It was a long process for me to land this position, and that was hard at some times. But now that I have the position, several people close to me are like, "Man, I wish you could have gotten that so much sooner." And I was like, "Yeah, but the position wasn't available then. And this is the position that I need to be at, because like I said, I very much feel like I'm part of the team, and this position wasn't available a year ago when I very first started looking for positions."